Hey friends, I feel really up close and personal today. I'm in my car. I'm about to go for a little walk. I had to bring some stuff back to the library, and if you see me like glancing, like there's people constantly everywhere, so I'm just being nosy. But yeah, so I was about to go for a walk. I had to bring some stuff back to the library, so I figured, I'm like, well, I'll just go walking. It's a great place. But I had so many thoughts rattling in my head because I just finished watching Simon and Shane, their live talk on authenticity. And man, it brought up a lot of questions and a lot of thoughts and ideas about what it means and what it is to be authentic. And I wrote a couple of notes that I started processing, and I was like, I'm going to link it below if you didn't get to watch it or you haven't seen it. I'm obviously going to link it below. But a lot of the things, I missed the very beginning, but a lot of the things that I found we were discussing today and talking about led me to think about authenticity versus transparency. And what I mean by that is like, okay, when I think of things like sexual orientation and religious views and political views and things like that being expressed through our channels or whatever, I find that a little bit more on the lines of transparency. Like, I'm being transparent. I am a witch. I am a pagan. I really don't follow any religious views. My political views are super complicated. I consider myself queer. I am married to a man. I have a child. I am a Cajun. I've come from a lot, I feel like that's more about being transparent and saying this is who I am, right? Versus being authentic. I feel like being authentic, to me, like my thoughts about it, is more like being honest, speaking my truth. Like, if I'm mad about something, then I'm mad about something, right? If I'm agitated, then I'm aggravated. You know what I mean? Like, I have the ability to be authentically myself. Like, that shit irritates me, so I will mention that. But I feel like, well, I'll go into that in a second, about like authenticity being considered or even just then, like, I automatically linked authenticity to being kind of nasty or like something negative. Whereas, like, okay, authenticity meaning like these are the things I love. So if you like witchy things or tarot or I don't know, video games, authentically, those are the things that you love. Those are your truths. What you don't like, I'm nerdy. I like a whole bunch of history stuff. I like a whole bunch of paranormal stuff. I like fantasy things. I'm a huge nerd. That is authentically who I am. I'm a free thinker. I have a huge potty mouth. I do try to refrain myself sometimes on my channel out of respect for some others, but again, that pulls into question, like, why am I not being authentic? Why is saying fuck when I'm an adult something that I feel restrained about sometimes? Like, why can't we be our authentic self? But that's a part of me. That's authentically who I am. I am a bit of a potty mouth. That's just one of those things. But so yeah, like, I can see certain aspects of being authentically who we are, like speaking the way that we speak and not acting like we're someone else. And I think that that's where that difference, Shane mentioned how it went from someone kind of like talking to the camera and creating content in that way to, hey guys, go ahead and subscribe to my channel, hit that like button, go ahead and press that little bell, that way you can get the notifications. And it's like, when you get to that space, it does feel inauthentic, because then it feels like you're selling me something. However, if I'm going, like, you have to almost set yourself up for that. Like, you have to know your audience. Like, I'm only going to watch people like that if I'm doing something specific, right? Like, or if I'm watching something specific, or, I don't know, I want to learn something, or I want to know about something. Like, for me, I watch these weird little, like, 10 weird things that no one can explain. Make sure you hit that like, I know what I'm going into. I'm watching YouTube crap. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going over there because, you know, I authentically want to see that person. You know what I mean? So I'm expecting to be thrown gimmicks. And I think that's kind of what it boils down to, right? Is like being, or turning your channel into a gimmick versus being authentically who you are. And it all boils down to, why are you on YouTube? Are you there to monetize? Are you there to sell something? Are you there to just stroke your ego and get a bunch of followers? And I don't know. It's so hard to say. I guess it's all about what you're watching, who you're watching, and why you're watching, you know? Another little thing that I just wanted to touch on is about, like, authenticity doesn't have to mean rude or bullying or judging or being a gossip, you know? Because, like, we do tend to go there and be like, well, I'm authentically being myself, and myself is an asshole sometimes, and I gotta blah, blah, blah. And it's like, yes, sometimes our authentic selves are a bit shitty. My authentic self, sometimes, I don't like to talk a lot of gossip, but I sure like to hear it. You know what I mean? That's authentically who I am. I'm not going to talk a lot of trash. But sometimes I don't mind hearing it. And, you know, somebody mentioned about, like, you know, the higher self versus, you know, who we are, warts and all. I think that, you know, we like to strive for being our higher selves and to push those thoughts away, but sometimes they're there. And I think that's being authentic, is just admitting that we're not always perfect, and sometimes we think shitty things, or we say shitty things, or, you know, we're involved in shitty things sometimes. But I think when it comes to our channels, it all boils down to why we started it, what our goals are, and who our audience is, and, you know, our content. Does being solely a tarot reviewer, like all you do is come on and review tarot cards, does that require you to go into any detail about yourself? No, not really. Versus, you know, someone like me who, like, I'm doing this because, like again, we talked about, you know, Simon talked about that validation. Like, we just want to feel like we're a part of something, and that's where I'm at. I don't have a lot of people to talk to or to converse with that like the things that I like, that are around me. You know what I mean? And some of them that are around me, judgy coming up, they're just not my speed. They're not my style. You know, they're just not. I don't. Anyway. But again, authentically me. Like, there are some people I'm just not willing to hang around with. Like, but I'm not one that likes to put on a show. Whereas I find that some of the people around here that I've talked to and that I've, you know, tried to connect with, you know, some of these groups, they are into witchy things for the show of it. They want to use tarot just to show it. You know what I mean? Like, it's just different. We're just on different levels. And so for me, it was definitely about connecting with people. So in that sense, because I feel like on my channel, what my main goal is, what I'm trying to do, yes, I'm trying to get some subscribers just because I like to talk to people. I want to interact with people. And that's my goal for my channel, is just to put my thoughts and my love of tarot and witchy things and whatever else, my art, if like that's what I want to put out there. And for me, I do want to gain followers. I do want people to like me. I want to be in the community and different things like that. So I feel like for me, authenticity, being my authentic self, and holding true to that as much as I can, as much as is comfortable, and like we talked about on the chat today, as much as that is safe for me, I think it is important. Now, as far as transparency goes, I feel like that's more along the lines of a personal preference. I don't mind being transparent and saying those things about myself, but at the same time, I don't feel the need to hide. Whereas some people still really can't bring themselves to say certain things out loud. Or they're too afraid. You know, it is true. Fear is where it all stems from. We don't say these things for fear of rejection or someone finding us, or, you know, there could be a bazillion and a half reasons. Transparency, then, I feel like those kind of things is user discretion. But I feel like when something is that said Cajun. If something's asked to you, if something is asked of you, and you do have more of like an open space where people are talking back and forth, you know, I feel like sometimes being transparent really helps you connect with people. There's so much we can talk about on this. I think it is, you know, because there's so many different factors, right? Again, what kind of channel is it? What are you putting out? What kind of content? Who are your viewers? Why are they your viewers? What are your goals? Like, all of that has to do with how authentic and how transparent we are. So I just thought that it was a great talk, and I just kind of wanted to mention it. I'm sorry y'all all up in everything, like, oh, look at the double chin, whatever. So today, with all this, like, I just felt this was definitely one for the Oracle of Oddities. Yes, I sure did put that in my purse. I sure did bring that with me so I could pull a card for day 9. Yeah. This is the second edition. I don't have the first or the third, but I really kind of want it. I think, I know you can't get it anymore from, what is it, the Black and the Moon, but, yeah, the Black and the Moon, not the Black and the Moon, Black and the Moon. I don't know if you could even see that, but I think there's a shop, somewhere in the States, I think North Carolina, that might have the first one and the third, so I might try to snag that first one. I've been good. I haven't bought any aside from my Supra that should be coming in. Oh, I lie. I did today. I was discussing it with my friend back and forth, but I did end up getting it today. When that was the another Oracle. Can you believe? I'm usually not one to get a whole lot of oracles, but I'm thinking about offering some of the ones that I have up for trade or sale or something. Anyway, I got the Oracle of Mystical Moments, or whatever it is. I found it on eBay because it wasn't on our Amazon. And my friend in the UK, I called and talked to her today, and she was like, girl, it's available over here. I was like, man. All right. What we got today? I feel like this one wants to come out too, like at the bottom, so I'm just gonna pull them both. This is my favorite. Oh, well, you see, look at that. Can you see this? Revelation and security, right? You know, I mean, with this whole topic, it's about evaluating who we are, right? Like, who are we? What are we showing to people? what kind of persona are we putting on a persona, you know? Like, what are we portraying? And, you know, maybe that'll give us all a look, or the, how do I say that? My words are getting jumbled in my head. That will all make us stop and look maybe a little bit about what we're putting out there, who we're portraying ourselves to be. Maybe break down some of those walls and cut down those barriers and just be like, you know what? Like, this is who I am. But if that's not where you want to go, then you also need to realize that you can't be both. If you want to be that prim and proper and have this specific space, you can't be both. So maybe finding a different outlet. You know what I mean? Shane even talked about like how he wanted to do a travel channel. Like, he's not gonna be the same Shane on that channel as he is on Read the Wonder. You know what I mean? So I feel like maybe just taking a look at why we do certain things, you know, life in general. I mean, not only on YouTube, like the way that we portray ourselves to our friends and our families and, you know, our coworkers and everyone else, strangers on the street. How can we be more authentic and true to who we are? And a lot of that has to do with our security, because it is scary sometimes to put yourself out there or to be yourself, because for so long, so many people were always told you shouldn't talk that way, or people are going to stare at you, or why do you look a certain way, or blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean? There's always those things that, you know, were fed to us when we were children, you know, nasty things that bullies said, or whatever it may be, that has caused us to create this shell and this persona and to be so scared to be who we are. And I feel like if we can just try to be a little more honest with ourselves and start pushing ourselves just little by little to just be more authentic in the moment. Now, okay, so going back to that authenticity, I think that we have to understand too that being authentic is not the same as an excuse to fly off the handle. Do you know what I mean? I mean, yes, sometimes our emotions get the best of us and we just project that out. But I feel like as adults, and this doesn't, you know, qualify for children or even some teenagers. They just haven't gotten to certain levels yet. And even some adults haven't, let's be honest. But like, we are in charge of the way that we react, right? Again, react. We act out our emotions. Whereas, you know, being authentic doesn't give you a license to be an asshole. You know what I mean? Because it's all about our own reactions. But I feel like if we can allow ourselves to be authentic, our little bubble we created will get smaller and smaller, just like this beautiful little baby in that womb, where we won't fit in there anymore and we won't be able to help it. We'll just slowly and slowly come out of that bubble being more and more of ourselves. Less and less fear will hang around us, you know? This is my favorite card out of this whole deck. I can't even lie. It's my favorite. It's beautiful. And I love that because it is nice and secure in this little womb, but you can't stay there forever. And I feel like that's, you know, that's life in general. You can put on a face and put on a mask every single day, but every day that mask gets a little more worn, it becomes a little more thin, cracks begin to appear, and eventually your true self will come out. Even if it's not in the way that you want it to, or that it's scary, or that it becomes a complete fucking mess. Yeah, that's a lot of thoughts to think. Like, there's just so much running through my head, and I feel like I just want to bounce around. It's just a lot. Like, that's almost one of those things, like, you would really want, like, a table discussion, you know? Like, just so many people just relaying these ideas and thoughts and questions back and forth. And I think that that's the most important part, and why I love this community so much, is because you can talk to my friends around me. If there's one thing that Danny is gonna say is, but I got questions, you know. Because I like, if there's something I got, it's questions. And I think that that's important. I think that we need to be asking these questions, even though we cannot tangibly answer them sometimes. They're not going to be cut and dry. They're not going to be easy. They're not going to be black and white. They're going to have this gray area that you can't 100% say or put your finger on. But just asking these questions and provoking these thoughts in people is such a good thing. And I love this community for it. So Simon and Shane, if you watch this, guys, thank you for that discussion. Much love to both of you. I think it's important to talk about these things. And thank you guys for joining me. Much love as always, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Bye.